I was toxic and he was toxic.
So you take personal responsibility.
100%.
Okay.
I feel like if you're in a toxic relationship, there is something on you that are not okay. I feel like when you're lost, you can really see the reality.
Yeah, so I'm just an advocate because I struggled really, really bad in high school. I got diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis.
Therapy is not easy. You're gonna be touching on things that hurt you, that you don't even know that actually hurt you.
I think substance is the most important thing to me personally.
What do you mean by substance?
Like thought.
Like intelligence?
Yeah, like intelligence.
Honestly, I live in Marina. There were nothing there, no fires. And there was one night the building by my building was getting on fire. I have all the respect for every immigrant because it's not easy to leave your family, leave your friends, and try a better life here. So when we want something and it's hard to get, it comes in the most beautiful and rewarding way.
You can't just say, oh, I want a Lamborghini, and then just wait for it to show up. Like, that's not gonna happen. I went through a lot of trial and error, and I just kind of said, okay, this is what I want. I wrote it down. I said, this is what I want, and I would not accept anything less.
Latina girls are like always good kissers. It's just like automatic. Whereas like
we use our tongues.
that's the secret.
I love
that's
it when Americans don't.
Welcome to Unattainable. Glad to have you with us. My name's Zach Evans. I'm going to be your host for today. And first of all, thank you to all of our listeners. We've been getting a ton of growth and engagement over the last few weeks. So we got to thank you guys out there for that. Today, we got a couple special guests on the show. Kale and Giulia. Why don't you guys go ahead, introduce yourself to the audience, name what you do and your star sign, and we'll start with you, Kale.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kale. I started out as a mental health advocate on TikTok, and then now I model and I do business, and I'm a Virgo.
I'm Giulia. I just launched a social media agency end of last year. I also do a lot of UGC, creating content for brands as well. And my sign is I'm a Taurus.
Taurus. Yeah. Interesting. Virgos are some of my best friends.
Mine too.
Mm-hmm.
Taurus, on the other hand, are
the opposite.
bad for my mental health. I'll say that.
Really?
You guys are fun, but dangerous, I think, is the right word for it. Yeah.
I agree.
I like how when I said dangerous, you smiled. Like, yeah.
I love it.
Which I don't judge. I used to be very toxic back in my villain era, you know.
Wait, what is your sign?
I'm the best one.
Don't tell me
Smart,
Aries.
funny, attractive, tall. Funny,
Capricorn?
smart, tall, and attractive, yeah. Pisces.
Pisces?
Yeah.
Pisces are so sweet.
No, stop
really
it.
like
I
Pisces.
don't identify as a
It
Pisces.
depends on the Pisces, I feel like. I've dated some Pisces. I'm currently dating a Pisces. And it's like
We're the best.
it's across the board. Like you could be some interesting people and then some amazing people. So you never know.
Yeah, I get a lot of girls who don't like when I say Pisces, they look at me like I'm just like spawn of the earth. I ended up on one of those Facebook groups. Have you guys heard of these Facebook groups?
No.
Okay, first of all, I'm like, who uses Facebook anymore?
Yeah, I do.
I just
catch
wake
on there.
up to like 17 text messages and all these girls are sending me, they're like screenshotting me. And it's just a picture of me. And then it says, it's in this Facebook group called like Don't Date Him Los Angeles or something like that. And it just says Pisces. No, it says Zach and then a bunch of red flag emojis. And then it says Pisces. And then it's like, we'll send more details once approved. I guess they like get it approved in the chat. And then it's like this whole thing and a bunch of girls join it.
I'm so curious. What are your red flags?
Me? Silly
Yeah.
old me?
What are the red flags?
So back in my like fuckboy days.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I was a professional fuckboy. I'm not like
Okay.
these amateur Gen Z fuckboys running around nowadays with take their shirtless selfies at LA Fitness. You know what I mean? It's like
Okay.
like at least if you're gonna date a fuckboy, like date a professional who takes their shirtless selfies at Equinox and get fucked over on like a European vacation. Don't get fucked over at Half Price Tuesday at Applebee while he's holding the coupon book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would always be honest with girls, even back in the day, and I would say, yeah, I'm not looking for anything serious, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, I feel like they wanted to change me or they thought for some reason that I was going to like change, but
Yeah. That's the worst.
yeah.
When people spend too much energy trying to change someone.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But
I feel
now
like
I'm
we
very
all
shine
been there.
romantic. Yeah, now I'm very shine romantic.
I mean, you got mature, right? I feel like every man has that phase and then I don't know, some men, they're old and they're still like a fuckboy, and I'm like, why? What?
I feel like it depends on who you are as a person. I feel like everybody goes through phases
Yeah.
of who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's like one way or the other because we're ever changing. So.
Well, have you guys heard of the 3 loves theory?
No.
So in your life, everybody has 3 loves.
Mm-hmm.
You have like your first love, the first person that you date, you think it's going to last forever because you don't know any better, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then your second love is like your toxic love. And it's the one that just breaks you, and it teaches you life lessons, and it forces you to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And then your third love is like your soulmate. It's like you learned all your lessons from the last one, and now it's like you found like that perfect puzzle piece that you actually know what you want in a relationship because you've gone through all the bad ones, and then
That's
you
crazy.
find your person.
That's crazy. That's the story of my life.
You found all
That's
3.
crazy. Yeah.
Okay, so
I had all of them.
okay, tell me about what was the first one?
Well, the first one, I was 14 and we were dating from 14 to 18. So we were like really, really young.
Okay.
Everything was perfect. Like,
Mhm.
you know, love of my life. We're going to stay together forever.
Mhm.
And it was really bad after, like, we broke up, and I feel like he was 18. So he was on that phase, like starting to kiss girls and like have sex and this kind of things. And I was like, pretty upset to see everything. And then
After you broke up or while you were
yeah,
dating?
after we broke up.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. But the bad part is like he was kind of like aggressive person after we broke up. He became, and when I used to talk to guys and he was around, he would be aggressive. So no one wanted to talk to me.
He was jealous. He would
After
get
school.
jealous.
Yes, no one would talk to me. No man.
Mhm.
And then my second relationship, it was so toxic.
Uh-huh.
I was toxic and he was toxic.
So you take personal responsibility. I like
100%.
that.
I feel like if you're in a toxic relationship, there is something on you that are not okay. Because when you love yourself and when you prioritize yourself, when you take care of your mental health, you're not gonna accept to be with someone that doesn't do good for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was in a very toxic phase of my life, and I was disrespecting myself, and I would be upset when people would disrespect me, which it was what happened. He was disrespecting me. But then lots of therapy, self-development, and I found my man now. And our relationship, it's so healthy. So healthy. It's crazy. I never thought like I would be able to have such a healthy relationship.
So you felt like you grew from it. You learned something from it instead of seeing it as a negative.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's not that I like, oh my gosh, I wish that relationship didn't happen. No, like it taught me a lot of things, you know?
I'm curious. So when you first met the toxic relationship guy, were you unaware that it was a toxic situation when you first met him? Or did you kind of know in the back of your head what you're getting into, but you just liked the excitement?
I didn't know. I didn't know better.
Okay, so you were just deer in headlights.
I was so lost.
Okay.
I feel like when you're lost, you can really see the reality.
You were just in love. You were just blinded by.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not even about the relationship, but everything in life. You can see things the way they are, you know, when you're lost. So, yeah.
And so what happened in the relationship that made it toxic?
And then, well, I cheated on him. I'm almost sure he cheated on me. Like the whole situation, and we broke up. And then I started doing therapy with the same therapist I have nowadays. Every week, it's been like 5 years. I don't know. And I just, I started working with her, and there was a moment that she gave up on me. She said she wouldn't work with me anymore. This is how bad I was.
Aren't they not allowed to do that? I thought that was like a rule. Like, give a patient. Isn't that like imagine you go to the doctor and you break your arm. He's like, yeah, sorry. Like you broke your arm too many times. Like we're not going to fix you anymore.
Well, I think they can choose like their patient. And she said she wouldn't work with me anymore. And then after a month, I begged her to take me back. And nowadays, she always tells me like it was one of her past decisions like in her career to take me back because she can see how much I have grown and how much I have changed. I completely changed. Like I'm not the same person I used to be. So yeah, I love therapy. I feel like if everyone in the world did therapy, we will live in a better world. We all have insecurities. We all have traumas. We all have fears. And we have to learn how to deal with that. And not only that, it's to deal with all the crazy people outside, right? Like out there. So yeah, I highly recommend therapy for everyone.
I see.
Yeah.
And so when did that relate? Did you break up with him? Did he break up with you?
I broke up with him.
Okay. So when you ended that, after all the
Mm-hmm.
drama, toxicity, everything, were you more angry at him, or were you more kind of like hurt and sad?
I
And I'll tell you why I'm asking in a second, but
don't know. I don't think I was angry at him. Like, I feel like he was also lost, you know? Like, it's not that he was a bad person. Like, I don't know. I wasn't like angry at him.
mm-hmm.
Not at all.
That's a very mature way of looking at it. Yeah. You can't change who somebody is at the end of the day.
No.
Mm-hmm.
You can help people to change, but if you're someone expecting this person to change,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Interesting. I had my first two were like bundled into one. So I was super like shy and awkward growing up. Like had no friends. Like my parents were poor because my dad was a gym teacher. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. And all the little kids in their stupid they had the same fucking shirt. It was that little polo with the little horse guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Ralph Lauren polo. I still fucking hate those shirts to this day. Because all those little fuckers coming out of their Range Rovers and just making fun of me. So I always wanted a girlfriend like in high school. I was like so like desperate to get a girlfriend. And I was like too shy, too awkward. I wasn't the cool kid. So finally, like my junior year, one of my friends was like, oh, this girl wants you to ask her to prom. So I was like pumped because I was like, this is my shot. I was like, don't fuck this one up, Zach. Don't fuck this one up. I still remember I went to like her locker after class and I was like, hey, do you want to go to prom with me? And she was like, yeah, of course. And then I was like, okay, bye. And then like ran away. Like it was like so like cringe. It was like the cringiest thing.
Natural high school reaction.
Natural, yeah.
Yeah.
But even like worse because I was like even more awkward for a normal high schooler,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So we started dating and I was just like so happy. Like for the first time in my life, I really felt just like genuinely happy all the time. And I was like the biggest simp, like cringe. Like this is going to make you cringe. Every Monday, I'd wake up at 6 a.m. and I would drive to the Walmart between our houses and I would buy some flowers and the purple Skittles, you know, the wild berry flavors, because that was like her favorite one. And I'd like write her a little note and I'd like leave it on her doorstep so she would like find it.
Yeah, I think that's sweet.
It's not going to be sweet for long.
Oh,
Wait
no.
for the ending. So then we go to college and she goes to like the private school. My parents can't afford that one. So I go to UW Oshkosh, which is like in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still happy. I'm calling her every day. Yo, what's up, Julie? How you doing? How's your day? And there's this guy that she would always talk about. And she'd be like, yeah, we hate this guy. He's such an asshole. He was like dating two of my friends at the same time and like hooking up behind their back and all this kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, fuck this guy. We hate this guy too, you know? And 2 weeks later, I get a call from one of my buddies in high school. And he's like, yo, like, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but like we're at a party and like we all saw Julie like go in this room with this guy and it was the asshole guy for like 30 minutes. Like everybody's saying they hooked up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like laughing. I'm like, bro, she hates this guy. Like he's the biggest asshole. She would never. But for some reason, it's like in the back of my mind, I was like nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it. I was just like.
It's intuition.
I could like feel something was off.
Yep.
So I didn't sleep all night. Next morning, I like skipped class, drove to her college, and I like knocked on her dorm room door. And I remember I was expecting her to open the door and be like, oh my God, you surprised me, like big smile. But instead she like opened the door and she was like, hey, what are you doing here? It was kind of like one of those. And then I was like, yeah, you know, everybody's starting this rumor about you, but like, don't worry. I don't believe any of them. Like, I know it's not true. And she literally just looked at me. She was like,
It is true.
actually, it is. And the worst part was like, I was like bawling my eyes out at this point. I was like, but she was so like nonchalant about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost like our entire relationship meant nothing. And I still remember the last thing I said to her. I was like, Julie, I was like, I would literally do anything to make you happy. I just want to know why. And she literally like shrugged her shoulders like this. And she was like, I just got bored. And that moment, I was like, I will never be this fucking simp loser guy ever again. And that's when I started 6 a.m. every morning, fucking gym, work on the YouTube channel. And like, so obviously it was like a tough experience, but I do feel like in the long run, it's literally like changed my entire life.
100%. 100%. I feel like everything that happened in our past, like, kind of dictate how we're gonna feel towards things and act in certain ways. Yeah, 100%.
But the reason I wanted to tell that story is I know you guys are both big on mental health.
100%.
Do you think mental health is overprescribed sometimes?
What do you mean overprescribed?
Yeah.
So like I've never been to therapy. Well, one time that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
But I just feel like nowadays, especially for guys, and I don't know what it's like being a girl. You guys literally have like double the hormones. You feel things much stronger. I don't know what it's like, so I can't speak on girls. Yeah. But I feel like a lot of guys go to therapy for things that they just need to like man up a little bit. Like I think if I went to therapy after like this girl cheated on me, right? And the therapist tells me it'll all be better. Like, don't worry, it's her fault. Like she's
will never tell her that.
I feel like, okay.
A therapist will never tell her that. She's going to make you think about things and realize things yourself.
Yeah, and there's also so many different types of therapy. I think that's what a lot of people forget is there's like your traditional sit down. And then there's like you have a personal relationship, or not a personal relationship with your therapist, but you can text them at any time. There's so many different types of therapy. I feel like people get so locked in like, oh, I have to sit down on a couch and tell this person all of my problems. No. You do what you want, basically. And like she said, they basically guide you to make, you know, kind of like come to the conclusion yourself. But it just really depends. And the biggest thing with why I kind of like made a little face when you're like, oh, sometimes men like do this, I think a lot of men don't ask for help. And so it's hard to say like, oh, like you need to just like man up and get over it.
And we don't know the backstory as well. So.
Yeah, and a lot of men just don't ask for help in general. But and like that's a type of therapy that you can do is you can get a therapist that will tell you to man up, and that will, but that's your own prerogative. That's your own thing. So you can tell them like, hey, this is what I want to do, and that's just really it.
Yeah, like I think, like if I had a therapist, I would want him to be the one that's like, Zach, what the fuck? Get your shit together, bro. Like,
yeah, and you can
slap me and be like, you know what I mean? Not literally, but you know.
But you can choose that. You can choose that type of therapy, and you can work with your therapist. Like, obviously, there's professional guidelines and everything that they can't
slap me.
They can't cuss you out. They can't slap you. They can't do anything. Yeah. But they can say, this is your life. You need to take the reins and do it yourself. But yeah.
So you, because I know you have a lot of experience with therapy and stuff like that, and are you a therapist or do you?
No.
Okay. So you just understand mental health very well.
Yeah. So I'm just an advocate because I struggled really, really bad in high school. I got diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease, which actually causes anxiety and depression. Okay. And then my parents got divorced and I was having like 7 panic attacks in the bathroom a day.
I see.
And so that's kind of what started me on my journey. And then I started getting bullied in high school. And so it just kind of snowballed ever since. I started posting it on TikTok and like my personal journey, I guess, with it. But to go back to what you said, do you think it's overprescribed sometimes? I think medication is overprescribed sometimes. So there's psychologists and then there's therapists. Psychologists will just, not all psychologists, but a lot of psychologists will just throw medication at you and then just say, oh, there you go, fixed.
I didn't even know in my country, psychologists, they cannot prescribe you medications.
Interesting.
Psychiatrists can, but therapists, no.
My buddy who's from Brazil, he's like, we don't have therapists in Brazil. He's like, what the fuck?
Where did this guy come from?
I don't think he meant literally, but he was like laughing at us in America. He's like, you guys have all this money and like he's like, my life is so much easier here. Like, we don't need therapists. And, you know, it was like kind of like that attitude, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, that's just the kind of vibe in some places. Like, I'm from Georgia. I'm from the South. Like just the suburbs, really. And all the men I knew would think that like it's completely like stupid for men to go to therapy. Like you said,
that's how I grew up.
Yeah, just man up. Get
so
over it.
against it.
Yeah.
I feel like the people that are against it the most are the people who need it the most.
Well, I will say
therapy is not easy. You're gonna be touching on things that hurt you, that you don't even know that actually hurt you. Like sometimes, like the way you act is like towards certain things, or the way you feel that is negative. It's because things that happened in your past. So you don't even know, like you act in a certain way because things that actually happened. So when you start doing therapy, you start like realizing things and learning things about yourself, and you start learning things about other people as well. Like you can read other people, like why is this person acting this way? Like you start understanding about psychology, and I think it's great.
I will say I was forced into therapy the first time I ever went.
Oh no, that
never works.
Yeah.
Never ever will work. If you have a spouse that looks at you and say you have to go to therapy.
Yeah. No.
Like it's now couples therapy different. But like if nobody is going to be able to tell you to go to therapy and you go to therapy and actually like kind of like take what you actually need from it. So I think that you have to go free willing on your own volition, and then you have to figure out what works at that point.
And someone you like.
Yeah.
You have to.
My first therapist, didn't like her.
So your first experience, I'm assuming, was when you were getting bullied in high school. Was it around that time?
It was when my parents first started to get divorced, and I was struggling with my thyroid disease.
I see. How old were you at that time?
14.
14. Gotcha.
Yep.
And you just it was mainly anxiety that you would get from.
Yeah, anxiety, and then the anxiety induces like kind of like a sort of depression, and it can go vice versa. Depression can turn into anxiety can turn into depression. It just kind of happens. Yeah.
And so what helped you the most in terms of changing your thought process or to get through that moment? Because I know like it's already hard. I mean, middle school's, high school's brutal.
Oh,
you know, and I understand what you're.
Kids are so mean.
And people probably see your life now and it's probably like, oh, like, you know, she's out in LA, her life's easy, blah, blah, blah. But like, it's not, you know.
Oh, it's definitely not. And that's just the kind of vibe that I got in high school. A lot of people thought like, oh, she's pretty, so her life is perfect. Everybody's nice to her. Everybody wants to be her friend. No. And surprisingly, the majority of the people that did bully me were boys.
Interesting.
Which was, I don't know.
Usually it's the opposite, I find, but.
Yeah, it usually is. It usually is the opposite. And I would say like middle school or like elementary school was more like girls teasing girls. But I got bullied by boys in high school. In what kind of way? Just made fun of, or? I had, so I started sharing my mental health struggles on TikTok and kind of like helping other people through it. And they started an account. And these were supposed to be my friends. These are my friends that I have grown up with since first grade. And I sat with at lunch every day. And their handle on TikTok was, what was it? It was like boys at the lunch table or something. And they would get on my lives on TikTok and all my videos and tell me to kill myself.
What?
Yeah, it was bad. But tell me to kill myself, tell me I didn't belong anywhere, I'm a waste of space, a waste of breath. And did you know it was them at the time, or did you just think it was a random account? Well, the boys at the lunch table is pretty like, you know, and then they started making comments in person. And then there was a lot more that happened after that, and it kind of spiraled, but I just like, I don't go back there just because it's not worth it. Because I look at my life now and it sounds insane, but I'm thankful for what I've been through. I feel the same way. Because it has created me and has molded me into the person that I am today. It made you who you are. Exactly. And back to what you said, what do you think helped you the most? And it's basically you have to take control of your own life. You have to make your own path. So it's taking personal responsibility, even though it's not your fault. Exactly. But still saying, hey, it is what it is. I'm going to have to make this work. 100%. Yeah. And that's not going to work for everybody. It really isn't. Because what was happening to me was not my fault. The disease, the divorce, the bullying, none of that was my fault. But what was my fault was allowing myself to stay in the rut and to keep allowing these things to happen to me. And so at that point, I decided to go online. I went to the school administration. That's a whole other story because they said, you're leaving. So why would we do anything? Why would we get these people in trouble? Of course, it's Georgia. So it's like, you know, whatever. But at that point, like, I was like, wow, they really don't want to do anything. They don't want to help. and they're not going to.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, it was just like, I'm taking control of my life. I'm leaving. I'm doing what I need to do for me. And it worked out great. I graduated high school a year early, and
Yeah, it worked out great.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
And look at you now in LA,
You know.
chasing your dreams.
Yeah, you can inspire so many people. You can help so many people with everything you've been through.
And that's what I say is like, so many, like I used to get so many hate comments over me showing my vulnerable side. But I've also had thousands of people text me and say, you helped me. You helped save my life. And that means so much more to me. If I get that one message, I'll take 100,000 hate comments.
Yeah, and most of the hate comments are trolls.
Exactly.
It's just like people trolling, you know.
So I think it's worth it all in the end.
Good for you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Crushing it out here.
Thank you. Trying my best.
Yeah. It's interesting. I never understood. So the first time I dated like a really beautiful girl, I was 25 and she did modeling, and on the outside, like her life looked, everybody thought she had the easiest life. She was getting flown out to Milan for fashion week and private jets and celebrities in her DMs and all this kind of thing. But it was just interesting seeing like behind the curtain and like seeing her life up close where, yeah, she had a great life, but it was also like a lot of struggles that nobody knew she was going through. And it was like, I remember thinking like, man, you never know like what guys you can trust and what guys actually just want to sleep with you. And even worse, what girls you can trust. And then what girls are like, seem like your ride or dies, but they're secretly jealous behind your back and they're praying for your downfall. And it was a lot of anxiety on her. It was a lot of stress. And I remember sometimes she would, you know, go out, and she was very good at hiding it. So she'd go out all day smiling for the cameras and blah, 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 blah. And sometimes she'd just get home, just open the door and just start bawling, you know, and like fall into my arms. And it was just like, man, it's like she had to be strong to like maintain that all day, but then it would all come out at night, you know?
Yeah. We never know what another person's going through.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of funny when I first started dating her. One of my friends is like, you know, we're talking about it. He's like, oh, show me a picture. And I showed him a picture and he's like, oh, I met that girl. She's a huge bitch. And I was like, what? I was like taken aback. Because like this girl was the biggest sweetheart, like the heart of gold, like always helping people, all that kind of stuff. And then I didn't understand it until the first time we went to a party together. And I just see like every fucking dude is like trying to hit on her.
Yeah.
And from the outside, it does look rude. But then I'm like, all right, what is she supposed to do? Like entertain some bullshit conversation for 30 minutes. And now when she rejects the guy, he's even more mad because he thought he had a chance. And then he's following her around the fucking party like a dog. Like, it's like, wouldn't you rather have somebody just be like, yeah, this isn't happening. Like, don't waste your time. There's 1,000 girls in LA. Exactly.
And it's so like, it sucks because they feel entitled to your time. They think that you have to sit there and talk to them. And it's like, what are we supposed to do? Like you said, why would I sit here and entertain this conversation? Especially like having a boyfriend. Like I'm not going to say, like, obviously I am perfectly open to having friendly conversation. But when you come up to me very strong and with like all of this like swag or whatever, like, and you're like trying really hard over and over and over again, I just can't.
Especially at the gym. I'm like, if the girl is getting her workout done, just let her do her thing. Like,
but I'm going to tell you why this is hard from like a guy's perspective, because I know girls who say the opposite. They're like, yeah, I'm sick of meeting guys at parties. I wish some guy would just like come up to me at the gym. And I'm like, what? And then you say that, and a lot of girls say the same thing. They're like, dude, I'm trying to work out. I don't want to get hit on. And then some girls are like, I don't want to meet a guy at a club. I want him to come up during the daytime when I'm like grocery shopping or some shit,
you know. Try to get the vibe, you know, you look, and if the person looks back, if the girl is like,
you have to read the room.
I mean, I agree. I agree. There has to be like some level of social intuition. But also sometimes you got to shoot your shot, like at some level. It's like
you do, but there's a point where you need to give up.
Yeah, you do have to shoot your shot and then like read the room at the same time.
Yeah, because I've genuinely had men we will be introduced, whatever. We do the pleasantries, and I mention my boyfriend if they start getting friendly or more than friendly, and they just keep going and keep going, and then like you see them all night and they're just staring at you like you're supposed to do something, and it's like, I don't want to
Like,
be
you
around
try
you.
to put your AirPods back and they keep talking like,
You just
Exactly.
keep having to take them out.
And there's a point where it just gets creepy. Nobody finds creepy attractive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's never gonna
And
happen.
I hate being rude. Like, I'll never like ignore someone. I'll just like, yeah, nice to meet you. Like,
See, I'm
it's
rude
like-
when it comes to that, but I'm not rude if it's like, I don't know, like say like the first like couple times, I'm not rude, but it gets to a point where it's like, okay, leave me alone.
I like if I'm dating a girl, I like if my girl's rude to other dudes.
Yeah.
Like I like
I'm
the
never-
like, nah, nice try, bro. Like just move. You know, I don't like if my girl's too friendly.
Mhm.
With even if I know she's not gonna do anything, just like I don't like that look of like
Wait,
them.
like,
I don't
too
want them
friendly and
thinking,
rude,
oh,
they're really far apart. You know what I'm
You
saying?
what?
Like, too friendly and rude, they're like really like.
yeah,
like,
for
you
sure.
you can be
There's a balance.
like polite, you know,
Mhm,
kind and polite, and I feel like
mhm.
Some people don't allow you to be polite though. Like I've genuinely had men like complete like keep pressing,
Mhm.
keep pressing, and you just have to set boundaries because if you
oh
don't,
yeah, 100%.
it's just it's not gonna
Yeah.
happen. And sometimes those boundaries you kind of have to be rude,
Mhm.
and it's not like calling them names or anything or being that rude. It's like, okay, leave me alone.
Yeah, you got to put your foot down at some point.
Mhm.
You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll just keep coming.
What is your guys' normal type? Do you have a type?
I don't.
Nothing.
Not at all.
So ugly
Which
guys
is
with good
crazy.
personalities.
Well, I've dated ugly guys before.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't.
It's a condition. It's called geronophilia, I think. There's
Do
no
I have
cure.
this condition?
There's no cure. Like you'll be fine, but your bloodline is fucked. Like you're gonna go to the afterlife, and your ancestors are gonna be like, we could have had D1 athletes. Now we got some Oompa Loompa leprechauns running around trying to get their Lucky Charms back.
I really like. I don't care that much of how the person looks like.
hmm
To be honest.
What about height though?
I would like someone of, like a little taller than me would be great, but
Okay.
if I like the person, like I like the person.
Yeah. What about you?
I didn't have a type for a long time. But now I think it goes to like who aligns with me personally now, where I am in my life. Like that's the most important. Like, and right now I'm dating like a very businessman, and like he's perfect and amazing and awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's my type. But yeah, I don't know. Just not really a type. It just who aligns, who fits into my life, who, you know, will help me grow rather than keep me down here.
Who you admire, like, oh,
Exactly.
I admire that man. Like he's gonna help me to be a better person. As
Exactly.
I'm gonna help him to be better.
My boyfriend makes me such a better
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
and he helps guide. Like we're both debaters, like the personality type. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
we I mean, a
You
lot
don't
of
seem
people,
like a debater to me.
I am. It's the Virgo
Interesting.
in me, I feel like. But it just kind of comes out the more you get to know me.
Mm-hmm.
But we just ping off of each other. A lot of people say debaters aren't supposed to get together, but the women and men debaters are different.
Mm.
And so we just constantly bounce off of each other.
No, I'm a debater too, and I've had some contentious.
Yeah.
Kind of like, was that worth it?
Yeah.
But I've got to the point I don't care. I'm like, if we're
Yeah.
not right to be like, if I can't have my sense of humor around you and like say what I really mean, then it's not going to work out.
100%. And I don't know. I got to a point, I was like a bad debater for
Mhm.
a while, and I would sit there and like really just try to get my point across. But there's a point where you just kind of have to give up. Because like, whatever. Like, we're not going to align. It's not going to happen.
I don't know. To me, it's more like fun. But my problem is sometimes I don't. In my mind, this is fun and we're trolling each other and like bantering, like especially with our guy friends. I mean, that group chat, if that ever gets fucking publicized, we are toast because we just destroy each other and like nothing is off limits. But like sometimes I'll do that with somebody I don't know that well, and I'm like, oh wait, they're really debating this. Like I'm kind of trolling and like. You know, just kind of because it's fun, but they like, and yeah, it's kind of can get out of hand sometimes.
Yeah, it's perception for sure. And you have to make sure that the other person's aligned with that perception, because sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about height for you? Does height matter?
Yes. It sounds bad to say, but it's just preference. Everybody has
I don't think
preference.
it does. I think like, what are you gonna like? Hey, babe. Kiss down? Like, would that not feel weird? I feel like it would feel weird.
I think a lot of people think by me saying like, oh, like height does matter to me
Mhm.
is like talking down on people that it doesn't matter to, or like men that are shorter. And it's just like, I mean, it's just preference. Everybody has preference. So
one of my best friends is 5'11", and she always comes to me for like relationship advice, like, oh, what do you think he's thinking, blah blah blah. And she would always date like, you know, basketball players, NBA players, because they're like, you know, 6'7" or whatever. Yeah. And one day she's like, Zach, I'm sick of getting fucked over by all these fuck boys. I just want like a guy with like good connection and good energy, blah blah blah. And she starts dating this guy who's like 5'9", which isn't like that short, but like 5'11" plus heels. It's like, she was like towering over him like Shrek. You know what I mean? Like it was like bad. I saw them kiss once. It was like the dwarves trying to conquer the mountain in Lord of the Rings. It was like crazy. They just didn't look good as a unit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I saw her a couple weeks later, and I was like, oh, what happened to John? Because like I actually met the guy. He was cool, successful, good looking too, like really good looking, like facially, just kind of like shorter. And she's like, yeah, he came over a couple nights ago, and apparently she had a couple like glasses of wine beforehand. And she's like, yeah, I opened the door and I gave him a hug. And then she was like, I picked him up and I spun him around. She's like, I watched his little legs flail out to the side. No. And she was like, after that, I lost all respect. Oh, and I was like, that was your fault. Thing. But I get it. Guy. I kind of get it, you know. It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, poor guy.
But that's the thing. I feel like if you're a dude, it's like tall and good looking, funny, and rich. And you have to have 2 out of the 3. You don't have to have all 3. Like if you're funny and rich and you're ugly, you can get away with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if you're like good looking and funny, you could be broke and you're still good. Like you could, like girls will still like you.
Good looking and funny, I feel like you need more.
You need more than that.
Yeah.
You need substance.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think substance is the most important thing to me personally.
What do you mean by substance?
Like thought.
Like intelligence?
Yeah, like intelligence and like, I don't know. Like, I need to have like, what is the word? Chemistry. I need to have chemistry with somebody. And if you're funny and good looking, it doesn't mean like you're the full package either. Because you could also not be completely there. At least like, you know.
But it's interesting how you phrase that, because I see chemistry and substance as 2 very different things. Like to me, chemistry is like, oh, we have a vibe and we're like making kind of the banter, and like you're in a room and it doesn't feel like you're trying to think of what to say. It's just natural. It just flows. Yeah. Whereas like intelligence and substance, I see more like, hey, it's like 3 a.m. and like I'm really tired, and then my girl calls me that she just got in a car accident, and like I have to like fix the problem. You know what I mean? And like I don't want to, but like I'll sacrifice because that's what good people do.
That's the minimum you should do. Yeah. If your woman called at 3 a.m. her car, something happened, like even if it was my man, I'll wake up and go help him. Like I feel like that's just like you're being a good person.
I had this one girl I dated. She was the worst driver in the history of man. I swear to God. And she would drive. She drove her dad's yellow Camaro. It was like bright yellow. It looked like the one from Transformers or whatever. And ironically, she would like be the only Transformer that was like more dangerous as a car than like the Transformer. Like it'd be like, everybody run, she's turning back into a Camaro, watch out. It would be like that. No. And so she calls me one day like freaking out, like almost in tears. She's like, I got in a car accident. Like, what do I do? I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, are you safe? She's like, yeah. And like, it was like a fender bender. But she was like freaking out, you know? She was like freaking out about it. And I'm like, okay, like stay on the phone with me. Okay, we're going to get a police report. We're going to get insurance involved. Make sure you take a video of the scene. I'm like telling her what to do. And out of the other car, this girl walks out and she's freaking out and she's on the phone with her dad. And so they just like put the phones next to each other, and I'm like speakerphone talking through the phones to her dad. It was hilarious.
That's good. That's awesome.
It's whatever works, you know?
Yeah,
but,
that's great.
Yeah.
Also going back to the whole chemistry and substance thing.
Yeah.
I think I connect those in my brain because in order for me to have chemistry with somebody, they have to have substance. So we have to be able to carry a conversation in the middle of like a club or like whatever. I know that sounds crazy and it's like, oh, like I want a conversation in the middle of the club. But like, you know, like I don't want to just like be like, oh yeah, this club's great. Let's have some drinks. Woo. And then just like that just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've always liked clubs that have like a smoking patio, and I don't even smoke. But because if I'm like vibing with somebody, I want to actually have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, like
Exactly.
and I'm white, so I like can't dance. So like,
Yeah.
sometimes I'm at these clubs, I'm just like watching people because like some of the clubs are so loud, like you can't say 2 words, you're screaming in someone's eardrum, you know?
Oh yeah.
And I remember just looking around one time and thinking, okay, let me try to figure out how these people are having fun.
Yep.
And they're just dancing and just vibing or whatever. And like in my mind, because I can't dance, I'm like, what are you supposed to just wiggle your arms for the next 4 hours? Like doesn't that get boring? Like I need some like kind of like stimulation or something to like keep me engaged. Like I just can't like sit there like, all right, I can do this for like fucking 3 minutes and then I'm like toast.
But most people in LA that go out, they are stimulated by something.
Yeah.
They're not just
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got me there.
They
That
have
is true.
something.
They have a little extra
Yeah.
happiness nudge
Mm-hmm.
in that direction.
But I also do have friends that could not do a drop of drugs and could dance all night. Like listen to house music and that they're happy. Sometimes I think house music is a drug in itself.
Interesting.
Because my best friend, she loves house music.
Mhm.
She'll like sit there and like list off beats just randomly in the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And because she just loves it so much.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, there's people that just do drugs and have a great time.
No, because I don't do drugs. I just drink.
I don't either. I don't do drugs either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not my thing.
And so like I don't like concerts, and people think I'm crazy because like
I
I'm
love
literally a
concerts.
professional piano player,
Mm-hmm.
and
Wow.
I hate like every time I'm at a concert, I'm just like all I can think about is like how much Dr. Scholl's insoles cost because like my feet are like fucking killing me, and then like my girl's like, let me get on your shoulders, and I'm just like, thank God I like skinny girls because I don't know how much like arch support my like before my arches give out on me, and I'm like I could just listen to the same music with good quality without like standing in the middle of all these like
I love the
sweaty
energy. I feel like the energy of everyone singing and like happy together. You look around, everyone's so happy. I love that.
Interesting.
Especially in Brazil, like we are very like emotional. So if you go to a concert in Brazil, people are gonna be screaming and crying and like
Yeah.
you know, everyone hugging everyone. And we're like, wow, this is great.
I do love South American culture.
Really.
You guys have the best culture.
Yeah.
It's like
I like my culture too.
everybody can dance, everybody's having fun. Like even like Latina girls are like always good kissers. It's just like automatic. Whereas like
We use our tongues. And it's like
that's the secret.
I love
That's
if
the secret.
Americans don't. When I first moved here, I was like, what is going on? Like, where is it? Like, where is it?
You're like, you're doing it wrong, buddy.
Yeah.
You're like white guys, it's like kissing a fax machine.
No,
like
but
what are you
white
supposed to
guys
do?
usually they're way more respectful than especially Brazilian guys. They're the worst.
Really?
The worst. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I feel like in a lot of Latin American culture, like I had a friend who went to my high school and he was from Mexico, but I think kind of similar culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I was dating this girl and he moved there when we were in high school and then he came back to like visit when we were in college and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh yeah, like have you cheated on her yet? But the way he said it
it's normal.
was like, of
It's
course
not.
you cheat on your girlfriend. It wasn't even like oh wait, did you cheat on your girl? It was like so normal.
That's
it was
why we
bizarre
have
to
so
me.
much attitude. We're so spicy because if we don't, men
Uh-huh.
are gonna step on us.
I see. So
Like,
you have to be.
It was so normal. Like even when I was like a teenager going out to a party with someone I was seeing, like if he goes to the bathroom, like he's probably gonna make out with someone in the bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
like on the way to the bathroom. Because in Brazil, like we love kissing.
Mm-hmm.
So people kiss other people all the time. Like you don't
Mhm.
even need to know each other's name. You just kiss and like keep walking. Like,
Yeah.
It's
It's
crazy.
just fun. It's just like,
Yeah.
I see.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I went to Rio for Carnival one year.
I'm from Rio.
Oh,
I'm going this year.
nice. Yeah, so we went to Ipanema the first night. Then we went to Lapa. And Lapa was nuts.
I've never been to Lapa.
Oh my God. It was just like the streets were just filled. Everybody like drinking on the streets, like
Yeah.
giving me shots. I like have my phone out, I'm recording. And they're like, no. And I thought it was like, oh, like, is this a cultural thing? Like, it's like really like, am I
Someone's
being
gonna take your
disrespectful? They're like, nah, they're about to stab you and steal your shit. I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah, it was kind of, it was fun though, man. The part, like, people don't even go out till like midnight and then they're,
No.
It's like 10 a.m. the
Like,
next
we
day.
have dinner, we take a nap, and then we go out. Like,
Yeah.
They should party at like 1, 2 a.m.
yeah. No, it's a
It's
fun,
great.
it's definitely a fun environment. You guys travel a lot, yeah?
Yeah.
Where's your favorite travel? What's your favorite travel spot that like not the obvious ones. You know what I mean? Not just like, oh, Paris,
Switzerland.
London, Switzerland.
Switzerland is you land there and you can automatically breathe better. You walk outside and it smells better than it is inside.
Like the air
yes,
quality.
The air is insane. I mean, I only spent a day there, but it is beautiful. And you can just breathe. So good. So that's like the not like basic one to say, but obviously like Sardinia.
Yeah.
Pretty great. But yeah.
What about you?
I don't know. I don't want to say my country because I feel like I'll be cheating, but I just love going to Rio. I always like I'm the happiest when I'm there.
Yeah. I like South America for like partying with like a big group of friends kind of thing, and I like Europe for like
chilling.
If I'm like taking a date, like a girl there, and then we like do all the romantic shit,
Milan.
you know.
Milan
is I went the first time I went to Italy, I went to Venice, and I was like, oh, this is cool, but like kind of sucks.
Guys, I was so disappointed with the food. I love Italian food, and I was like, what is going on? What is this food?
Really? You don't like it? I thought it was really good.
I love it.
I love it.
I think my expectations were so high. And I feel like in LA we have the best restaurants. So like we have a lot of like amazing Italian restaurants here. And I was like, well, I think like the food is better in LA than in Italy.
Interesting. I think the food is, people say Europe has the best food. It's just that the same quality of food here is like $300 for the dinner. Whereas like you can get the same thing in Italy for like $20 on the street corner. You know what I mean? Yep. But I don't think the food's actually like LA is like has very good food.
We have the best chefs. LA, New York, like the food is so
good. Yeah.
I will say the junk food in Europe is better.
It
tastes better. Yeah. And it's not as bad for you. It doesn't have like all the red dye and stuff.
For sure.
Because I was either in Italy or Spain. And I got a like bag of Doritos, and I took a bite out of it. And I was like, "This isn't right." And I was like, "Wait a minute!" But this actually tastes really good, and I didn't feel like crap afterwards. Like I felt fine.
Yeah,
so, junk food definitely better.
Yeah, every time I go to Europe, any other vacation, like if I go to like Miami, I go wherever. It's like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna gain like 3 to 5 pounds because like, what do you do on vacation? Like, oh, let's get some food. It's just like, whatever. I go to Europe for 2 weeks, eat like crap. Eat like dessert all the time, go to all these restaurants. I come back the same weight. It's just crazy. It's like there's like they have good shit in their food.
Also, their portion sizing. Everybody complains about their portion sizing, but it is the perfect amount for me. Like it's just enough that I don't feel like engorged, but I'm full. So like after dinner, I actually feel like I can move. But yeah.
Do you guys like party vacations or more like nature?
I used to party really hard, and nowadays I'm just like over it. Yeah, I just like to enjoy.
My friend group likes to party, but I wouldn't call myself a party person. Like we are like, me and my boyfriend are like grandma and grandpa in the friend group. We go out whenever we feel like it, which I mean is still a lot considering. But like you have to think about LA culture. Everybody's out all the time. Yeah. And they go and party for weeks on end. So technically, according to everybody here, we're grandma and grandpa. But according to my friends at home, I'm crazy and I'm wild. Yeah. So it's like, yeah. So it's kind of like split down the middle.
Yeah.
That's how Wisconsin is.
Yeah.
Like people are like, first of all, they think I just know all the celebrities just because I live in it. They're like, oh, did you see like Brad Pitt at the grocery store? I'm like, no, I didn't see Brad Pitt at the. It's a city of 10 million people. Like, what the fuck?
We don't even try to pay attention.
You'll see like Soulja Boy at the club or some shit, but like it's like Soulja Boy hasn't been relevant since 2005. You know what I mean? It's like,
you know who I did see at the grocery store? Adam Sandler.
No way.
Yeah,
I would like to see him.
Yeah, I lived in the Palisades and what's it called?
I love Adam Sandler.
Yeah, walking into Erewhon, he's walking in with his daughter, and I was like, oh, no, that's Adam Sandler. And so I walk in behind him, and I just so happen to be going to like the little bar, like the little like smoothie bar or whatever, to get a breakfast. And so I walk up behind him, and I was like, oh, hi. And he goes, hi, how are you? And then just like goes on about his day. He was like really, really nice.
He seems like a celebrity that would just be like the coolest dude. Like, not fake, the exact same as he is like in interviews as he is in real life. He seems like he'd be like one of those.
100%. And like he was with his daughter, so I was just like, oh hi.
You don't want to be.
But he had basketball shorts like down to his shins. He had his socks pulled up.
Yeah, that seems like exactly what he would wear, you know?
Yeah,
it's like he's the same person. He's the same person.
He's the same exact person.
I have a lot of respect for that, you know?
Yeah,
I have a lot of
he has
respect.
the same personality.
Yeah, 100%.
And he's always like, right.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And I can see that, like, even, like, I just had a very quick interaction with him, but still, he's just, like, very, like, genuine, like, happy Gilmore. Hey, how are ya?
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
How do people in Brazil see your life now compared to Brazil?
Oh, they think it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, I'm like, I think we get numb to it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first moved here, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing this famous person. Oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, you get used to it. Like,
You get jaded.
What?
You get jaded. That's
Jaded?
like the term. You get jaded.
Oh, okay.
Like, you're like, oh, yeah,
That's a
whatever.
new word for me. Jaded.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's my life. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you want to talk about the fires that are
Yeah.
going on. So
Mhm.
what was your experience?
So I know that you talk about like manifestation and everything. Me and my boyfriend had just sat down. We call ourselves partners now. Like we're dating. We're not like about to get engaged, but like we're life partners. And so we sat down and we created all of our goals and everything, and we had it written out on a whiteboard. We started our mornings with journaling, manifestation, all of that good stuff.
Mhm.
And we ended our days with journaling and manifestation and cleaning, 5 minutes of cleaning. And we were just starting to get on that path. And then we wake up on the first day, that it was the 5th. No, 6th, 7th. I don't remember. All the days are blending together at this point.
Mhm.
But so we wake up, we start doing the motions, doing everything, and we finally felt good. We felt like it was becoming a habit.
Mhm.
And I was making us breakfast, and we just hear siren after siren, which is very odd for the Palisades. You never hear that in the Palisades.
Mhm.
And so he's about to like get into a meeting or something, and so he was like, what's going on? And so I opened the curtain, and all we just see is smoke everywhere. We were like, oh, uh-oh. So we go up the mountain to see like what's going on, just to kind of like check it out. And it was like, we couldn't tell where it was. We thought that it was like 2 hills away, but no, it was like the hill next to us. And so we went down, we were like, okay, let's start getting our stuff together. And so as we were literally getting the stuff, like our important documents, like we literally just picked them up, we got the mandatory evacuation order. And so
Crazy.
there's only 2 ways out of the Palisades. At this point, there's Temescal and then there's Sunset. And they're both, and Temescal goes to PCH. And so it's just going to get backed up. It's crazy. 3 o'clock on like a regular day, it's like gridlocked anyways. And so we were like, okay, we've got to get out of here. We left with our documents and our, like literally the clothes on our back. And we left. It was already starting to get like pretty, like it was very full of traffic. I wouldn't say it was like almost gridlock, but it was getting very close to gridlock.
Mm-hmm.
And so we leave, we go to West Hollywood, and we're staying at our friend's house. We immediately lose power when we get there because the Sunset Fire started up in Hollywood Hills.
Yeah.
And so we were like trying to get our friend's house ready for them to evacuate and like trying to tell them what they do needed to take. And at this point, we didn't know that our house was burning out. We lived on the other side of Sunset, more towards the beach side.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, nah, they won't burn down. It did. That night we were watching the news after the Sunset Fire had already gone down, and we saw that our house went into the fire perimeter. We were like, oh crap. Or I think it was the following day that we saw that it went into the fire perimeter. And so we at that point we were like, let's just see if we can get in there. And we went in there, we found like a path to get through because it was like pretty locked down, but not fully.
Mm-hmm.
We found a path, and there was fires not on this side. And so we still weren't 100% sure. There was a little bit of hope. And then we pull up and it's burned down. So that was kind of the experience with that, I guess. We're just trying to regroup now, figure out where to go next.
I bet. Were you scared, or were you like almost like not thinking it was real, so it didn't, or not thinking it was a real threat at the time? Or were you like in traffic like, oh fuck, what if the fire gets us? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we went down to the road and we looked back, and the hill that we were just on was on fire.
Oh, so it was like the fire's coming.
It's like it's coming, like we need, like, okay, yeah, we made the right choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so our house didn't burn down until like the 8th or the 9th or something. Like it was like much later because they ran out of water. So our house was actually one of the last to burn down. I think it burned down on like 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. And the first 2 days were awful because we didn't know if our house burned down or not.
Yeah, and you're just
yeah,
not knowing. The wondering's the worst part.
It's the worst part. And then once you see it, it's like, okay, we have to move on now. We have to start moving on. Yeah. But there was one night that I stayed up all night. I just couldn't sleep. And it's not that I was obviously I'm sad. I'm upset. But it's just like, I can't believe that you think you see all of this happen to other people and you're like, nah, that'll never be me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it does.
I mean, yeah.
That's the thing is we are trying, thank you. We're trying our best to just be present and look forward to the future because we can't just keep reflecting on the past. Yeah. And it's
and
insane.
you both are really smart and good people, so I'm sure you're gonna build 2 times more what you had in the past.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, you just have to keep moving forward in life. Just like I said earlier about mental health, you have to pick it up on your own because nobody else is gonna do it for you.
Shit happens, so
yeah, shit does happen.
Just learn.
Yeah, it's a very mature way of looking at it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy. What mine was, I heard about the fires, but every year they're like, yeah, there's fires in LA, and I'm like, yeah, way out in the wilderness, usually nothing really happens. And then all of a sudden my friend wakes me up and he's like, yo, there's a fire on the Sunset Fire, and my office is right on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yep.
And ironically, I don't have that much expensive stuff in here because all my equipment is at the office, all my super nice cameras and the lenses and all the YouTube gear. So I was like, oh shit. So I'm driving to the office to try to get all my stuff. And it's literally it looks like Stranger Things, we're in the upside down world or whatever, and there's the ash in the air. It was like that. Yeah. You can see the flames on the thing. Yeah. I'm in traffic, trying to get to my office, and I'm gonna am I gonna be one of those stories that they're this guy tried to get his laptop and then he got burned up, you know what I mean? And I'm just
exactly.
So I'm running in the thing and grabbing all the gear and stuffing into a bag and running out, and then there's traffic,
yeah.
It's kind of crazy. It was kind of crazy.
I was driving to my friend's house in West Hollywood and I saw some fires. I was like, this was not supposed to be here. I was the fires were, I was so confused.
Yeah.
And then I was on my way home and they were telling people to evacuate. I was like, oh my goodness. But
yeah.
I was crazy.
It felt apocalyptic.
It did.
All of LA felt apocalyptic.
Honestly, I live in Marina. There were nothing there, no fires. And there was one night the building by my building was getting on fire.
Yeah.
Meaning someone started a shit.
Yeah.
Because how the fire skipped Venice and got to Marina and skipped Venice. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But people started drinking water and doing a bunch of things and everything was okay. But it was this is, I don't know. I feel there's something missing out.
Yeah.
Well, we were driving around because obviously I have a screenshot of my Life 360 because it tracks me throughout the whatever, and I got oh, do you still want to allow to use your location? And the dots were everywhere. I was all over West Hollywood.
It was crazy.
Everything. And then we were driving around LA the first 3 days after, 3 or 4 days after, and it was just nobody was out. Nobody was doing anything. Cause it just felt everything went to a stop because everybody knew somebody that was affected. And so, but the way that the LA community came together was insane.
Yeah.
I never would have expected it at all. It was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember those dots though because I'm always kind of the organizer. So I have everybody hitting up yo, where are you staying? Or girls hey, what do we do? Should we leave? Should we go?
Yeah.
And I'm okay, get the hotel, figure out where we're staying. And we got this hotel in the OC and there was 6 of us in one room just crashing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I remember looking at the map and I'm okay, let me figure out where to go.
Yeah.
And it was the entire thing was everywhere. Red. Yeah. And I was what if we go to Manhattan Beach and then there's a fucking fire there and then we gotta leave again?
Yes.
So I went I went all the way to Newport, which is it was 2 hours because there was traffic and everything. It was what?
We were so close to just leaving completely because we went to West Hollywood, the Sunset Fire started, and then the next day, the second day, day 2, we went down to Santa Monica to try and get in. This was before we had found out that our house burned down.
Mhm.
We were trying to get in, and then the Palisades fire started moving towards Santa Monica, and we got evacuated out of Santa Monica. We were trying to get to the Palisades.
Mhm.
So we were like, okay, whatever. And then that night we found out our house burned down. And then what else was it? It was just insane. It felt like the fire was just following us everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we went to another friend's house, and the Palisades fire expanded
Yeah.
towards the 405, I believe. Was it? I think that's what it was.
Because everybody was talking about, is it going to cross the 405?
Yes. And we were on the other, like right over the 405. And so we were like, are we about to get evacuated again? Like, it was insane. And I don't know. Surreal.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I'm glad, like, for the most part, people turned out okay. It was mostly property damage in houses, which definitely sucks. But, you know, at least it's, people are okay. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the most important part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, you were doing some, like, volunteering?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, that was someone else's story then.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things, like, I saw people, like, a lot of setups and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So donating clothes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I 100% would have volunteered.
I'm
if I
sure you had so much stuff to do and figuring out renter's insurance and blah, blah, blah. And where are we going to stay for the next, you know?
Yeah, we were taking it, like, honestly, we started hour by hour. We were taking it hour by hour. And then we started taking it, like, couple hours by a couple hours. And then day by day. But yeah, we would have volunteered if we were in the mental space to do it, because I do know some people in the Palisades that did go and volunteer, which is amazing. It's wonderful, but we just did not have the mental capacity to do that because it was just so chaotic.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. A little depressing. Sorry, guys.
No, it's all good. It's something that happened, you know? It's something that happened. So did you go back to your house to see were you just like, oh man, was it just surreal?
Yeah, it's so surreal. And like, we have been keeping such a brave face about it, and like being like, okay, present, future. But as we were driving into the Palisades, we could just feel our hearts start beating.
I bet.
Yeah, and then we pulled up and just completely flat.
Yeah,
and we like tried to go through the rubble, but it's just like, it's pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you lose anything that meant something to you, or did you get most of the stuff out in time?
I only left with my documents, my passport,
and
the clothes that I was wearing.
Because you were like, oh, probably won't actually.
But also, we were just trying to get out as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And it was like, everything material is replaceable. I was wearing, and I was thinking about my grandmother's rings. I was wearing my grandmother's rings, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But there was like some more of her rings there. There was like some sweatshirts that she had, and obviously like all of our like work equipment and like computers and stuff. So yeah, that sucked, but I'm just glad that we're alive. That's the most important part.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, we got 10 minutes left maybe. I did want to touch on manifestation a little more.
Let's do it.
Do you believe that manifestation is you doing things or the universe bringing things to you?
I never really understood the word manifestation. I don't know. It's just like, I feel like if you think about it, you're just gonna achieve that. That's kind of what it is, right? Kind of, yeah. I mean, everybody has a different kind of way they look at it. Some people 100%. Are very much, you speak it into existence, it happens. And then some people are very much like, you just have to do all the steps. And then it happens. I just believe if you give your blood, you're going to get what you want. If you just try hard, if that's manifestation, What have you manifested? Moving to the United States, being able to get the green card. I spent 5 years without seeing my family, without being able to leave the country. I had a student visa. One time I left to Mexico just with my friends. When I came back, the immigration took my phone from me with the password. They read all my message pictures. They screamed at me. They called me stupid. And I thought they were going to deport me. Crazy. And I was about to finish university. I was just like trying everything really hard. Like I was really spoiled in Brazil. But when I moved here, like I have lived in somebody's kitchen, like on the floor. So I've done everything to deserve to live here, right? Yeah. And when this happened, it was like so bad. And then I was scared to leave. And then so I got to the point where I couldn't work with what I wanted. I couldn't go see my family. I was dating someone and I didn't know if I'll have to go back or whatever. And we broke up. So I was like, I don't have my family. I don't have my job. I don't have the man I want. And then well, I kept trying and hoping, and I was about to give up, and it happened. I feel like when you try really hard, you might get to the point where there's nothing else you can do to get what you want. And then the universe or God or whatever is just going to put you there.
Yeah. It's going to do the rest for you.
Yeah.
That must have been really tough.
It was.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of the biggest things I got. Like I gave my blood. I gave my everything.
Yeah. 5 years without seeing your family. That's crazy.
Yeah. I have to sleep in a car. I bought a car for $300 when I was in San Diego. And the door wouldn't work, so I had to jump through the window. The thing that shows the speed wouldn't work. And I had my whole thing in the car. One night I slept in the car. And then I found someone on Facebook. She was Brazilian. And I was like, well, she was renting a room, and she ended up renting to someone. I was like, well, can I just live in your kitchen? So I was living in her kitchen for a month.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you feel like a lot of people know that about you? Because like,
definitely not.
You know, you come in, you're just happy. It's like nothing ever happened.
I have worked in a construction, like fixing floors and walls. Like I will take naps on the floor because it's actually in Miami, the building, like at Brickell, the one with the lines that has color.
Yeah.
I helped building that building.
Crazy.
But yeah, and I used to work like in a really high floor, and then the lunch break I was like, should I go all the way down the stairs and all the way back? And my mom would be like, come back. I'm like, no. And then I got fired from the construction. I was so upset. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to do anything. I got fired. But yeah, I did everything I had to do to get it. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's why I think like you, I truly believe you have to give your blood.
Was there any point where you were like second guessing yourself?
Not second guessing myself because I don't think it's a type of situation that like if I learn this, I'm gonna get this. You know what I'm saying? Like if I study, I'm gonna get like that. It's something that depends on so many other factors. You know, it's really hard to get a green card, and I have all the respect for every immigrant because it's not easy to leave your family, leave your friends, and try a better life here. But yeah, there were moments like I used to cry all the time, have anxiety, panic attack, and just like praying. I don't have a religion, but I truly believe in God, and just praying for God and putting out there and it happened the most beautiful way. And that's another thing. Like when we want something, I truly believe in that. When we want something and it's hard to get, it comes in the most beautiful and rewarding way.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I think the best existence is like having it hard at the beginning, so then you appreciate everything. I think the people who just get handed you know, everything, trust fund 100%. At the beginning and then never have a struggle. I think that's a lot of the people who end up like getting into drugs and doing all, because they have no like frame of reference. They're already just like up here. Yeah. It's like if you start up there, you have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So
it feels so good when you try hard and you work hard and you get what you want.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for that. It's like beautiful. The journey is always beautiful. The best.
Yeah. Awesome. What about you? What have you manifested?
I manifested my boyfriend. Because it was a lot of trial and error, especially like living in Georgia. I never thought I would ever find anybody that actually like, you know, was what I wanted. But I believe that manifestation is literally just being the best person that you can possibly be and putting it out into the universe. I believe that manifestation is you. Like, you have to put yourself in the right positions to manifest things. Because you can't just say, oh, I want a Lamborghini, and then just wait for it to show up. Like, that's not going to happen. You have to work hard. You have to get where you're going, like she said. Like, you know, it's much more rewarding when you work hard, then you get it. So, yeah, I manifested that. I manifested my modeling career. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah.
So how did you work hard to get your boyfriend, or what was the...
I went through a lot of trial and error.
I see. Yeah.
I went through a lot of trial and error. I went through a lot of trial and error, and I just kind of said, okay, this is what I want. I wrote it down. I said, this is what I want, and I would not accept anything less.
Interesting. How long did it take?
Like 2 months.
Oh, so it worked pretty fast. The universe delivers.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I feel like when you're in a good space with yourself, it's easier to find people.
Yes.
Like you don't have to go look for people. People are going to find you.
You have to become who you want to be to get who you want.
Exactly.
Like that's just how
and
it
to
works.
have a healthy relationship.
Yeah. And I went through a lot of therapy, and I had literally just had a breakthrough like within myself, and I started becoming who I'm supposed to be. And that's the point where I was like, okay, I'm ready to kind of start dating. And then I wrote down everything that I wanted, and boom, 2 months later.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep, crazy. So
Awesome.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I tend to be more on the side of doing things like you were saying, like, okay, you want the relationship, so you create yourself as the person, almost like the person that they would want to date.
Exactly.
Like, it's like, oh, do I have my shit together? Because I can't expect someone to date me if I'm like, don't have my shit together, and I'm like, have all these issues that I need to work through, you know?
Yeah, like I said earlier, you can't expect to have someone that's going to respect you if you don't respect yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't have love inside yourself, how are you going to give love? If you don't have respect inside yourself, how are you going to give respect and actually build something meaningful?
And there's a lot of people, especially in today's culture, that it's the blame game. It's, oh, women do this, men do this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but have some personal responsibility too. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know what I never trust? Anytime I meet somebody and they're like, all my exes were crazy. I'm like, wait. Were all your exes crazy? Like, there's one common denominator between this, you know?
If you're with someone that is crazy, I think you're crazy too, right?
I think
to an extent.
To an extent, yeah. I think if every relationship you're in is crazy or toxic, I'm like, okay, you're definitely part of the problem. You might want to start looking in the inside. Yeah.
100%.
Awesome. Well, we are about out of time. You guys have been very fun. Any social media shout outs you guys want to give? Where can people find you?
Well, my name's a little complicated. It's Giulia. It's a different Julia, but people call me Joel, so I feel like people can find me too through Jules. And my agency social media, it's Boca Agency, which is not great right now because I'm just like, it's just me, and I'm in the process of hiring someone right now at the moment to actually invest in like my page and getting more clients. But yeah.
Amazing.
Awesome.
And then I'm Kale, KALESMIT on Instagram, and then I Eat Your Kale Chip on TikTok.
That's amazing. Awesome. Well, maybe we'll do a round 2 sometime. You guys have been fun.
Great.
Perfect. Yeah, loved it.
Thanks for listening.